A Dutch news organization has uncovered a bunch of internal documents from Shell Oil saying they knew about climate change as far back as the early 80s. And we're like, oh, wow, we should do something about this. Clean it up? No. Cover it up was their policy. This is an article that's in InsideClimateNews.org. And it's, oh boy. I mean, no surprise that an oil company covered this up just to make profits, but I don't understand. I guess it's just the arrogance of greed and money and power to think that like climate change won't affect you because you have a private jet or something. I just don't like, it's going to affect everybody. I mean, when the Hamptons are underwater, is that when these assholes will go, oh boy, maybe we should do something about climate change? When Mar-a-Lago's underwater. I mean, but here's what they found. They show, the documents, that as the company pondered its responsibility to act, Shell's scientists urged it to heed the early warnings, even if, as they said, it might take until the 2000s for the mounting evidence to prove greenhouse gases in the atmosphere were causing unnatural climate change. A 1988 report that company researchers wrote, based on studies that had been done in 1986, said this: with the very long timescales involved, it would be tempting for society to wait until then before doing anything. The potential implications for the world are, however, so large that policy options need to be considered much earlier, and the energy industry needs to consider how it should play its part. We've been hearing about climate change for a while. Back then it was called global warming. And what happened? The oil industry just started buying up more politicians and doing more research saying that, oh, I don't know, maybe there might be two sides to this climate change coin. And spent a lot of money pushing it through a lot of places like Fox News, but all the mainstream media, the oil companies buy ad time on MSNBC and CNN and ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. So they're going to always just, their main mode of attack is just like a good defense attorney that has a guilty client. You know your client is guilty. You know they're guilty of murder. All you need is just to plant a reasonable doubt to get your client off. That's all they do. Just to, I don't know, maybe. Because the minute everyone says definitively across the board climate change is real, it's happening now, we need to do something about it, then everybody pivots away from oil. And oil's done. Their money's done. So instead of trying to, hey, we should take all of our money and invest it in green technology, and Shell, just like AT&T doesn't sell telegraphs anymore. They sell smartphones and broadband. Exxon and Shell could be like, well, we're now we make solar panels. That's our main business now. We got out of the oil game because it'll kill the human race. So a team of Shell experts said it could be too late to take effective countermeasures to reduce the effects or even stabilize the situation. Shell's own review of the scientific uncertainty and the evolution of energy systems indicates that policies to curb greenhouse gases beyond no regrets measures should be premature, divert economic resources from more pressing needs, and further distort markets. That was 1995. You see how they sort of started to switch, right? That's when they started, they got that research in 86, and then in the early 90s, they decided to put money into doubt. The documents were unearthed by journalist Jelmer Mammers of Die Correspondent, whose investigative article was published on Thursday in Dutch. Many of the documents, along with explanatory notes, were released on the Climate Files website, where research and climate advocate Kurt Davies maintains extensive archives. This article is very extensive, and I highly recommend reading it. And the thing is, like, are we talking about this in the mainstream media? No, we're just talking about how we're going to war. The mainstream media is just showing, oh, you know, chlorine gas attacks by Assad. That's all we're talking about. Not this. No one's talking about this. So Shell is a defendant in a bunch of court cases, and which is good. You have to sue them, but it's unbelievable. Here's what else they did. Over the decade, Shell spent considerable effort generating what-if scenarios to help grope its way forward. In one, a 1998 planning document carrying the acronym TINA for There Is No Alternative, the company even imagined events in the year 2010 after violent and damaging storms wreaked havoc on the east coast of the United States. Although it is not clear whether the storms are caused by climate change, people are not willing to take further chances, the document speculates. After all, 2 successive IPCC reports since '95 have reinforced the human connection to climate change. Following the storms, a coalition of environmental NGO brings a class action suit against the U.S. government and fossil fuel companies on the grounds of neglecting what scientists, including their own, have been saying for years, that something must be done, the scenario states. This thing goes into the details of how they change their thing just for financial. I mean, if the end of the human race comes, it blame the oil companies. That's how it shakes out. It's unbelievable. So it's why I say get off of oil as best you can. Reduce your consumption of it. Do not give these companies your money. If you are investing, invest in green technology. Vote with your dollars at every way that you can. That's how we collectively can do something about it. And I know many of you are like, we've talked about this in the super chats. Hey, Graham, I live out in the country. There's no public transportation for me. Well, look into converting your car to vegetable oil. Look into other types of fuel vehicles. I mean, like, try to find something. Just use your car a little bit less. There's little solutions out there, or little adjustments that actually affect them. The consumption of oil is down, and they know this because everyone's aware of this stuff. And the mainstream media is bought and paid for by oil companies, among other companies, and that's why we're not going to get any straight scoop on this. Right? So all of you can do little things in all of your lives that can help get us away from this. Supporting progressive candidates, not backing down. Like the environment should be one of your purity tests when you're looking for candidates to vote for here in 2018, which is a critical year. You know, that's a key point. So thank you for watching the show and supporting it. Make sure you subscribe. YouTube is throttling my subscriptions and my views. And please go to the Patreon to support this channel. You can do it for as little as $1 a month. Thank you so much.